everyone and welcome back to my channel. I've got Pepi with me today, but she's probably going to want to go on the bed in a second and fall asleep. Today we are talking to you about my most requested topic, toilet training your dogs. Is she gonna? No, she wants to get down. Okay, so if this is the first video you've ever seen from me, you may not know our backstory. So Pepi is our Pomeranian. She is 3 years old and she belongs to myself and my husband Ben. We moved from London to Devon last year in November, and we've moved from a top floor 1-bedroom flat to a 3-bedroom semi-detached with a front and back garden. So if I run through what happened when we first got Pepi, I was very lucky to grow up with Springer Spaniels. I grew up in the middle of the countryside, and I was exceptionally lucky that my parents decided to breed from 2 of our Spaniels, and we had 2 separate litters. So I have first-hand experience of raising puppies and seeing what they were like and seeing their mother's behaviour towards them, and getting to witness that. So that was amazing. Now with that, I just want to say I'm not a doctor, I'm not a vet, I am not a breeder. I just love dogs and I love different breeds, but especially Pomeranians. So I talk about them a lot and I share my experiences with you. So please take my advice with a pinch of salt, and obviously take your breeder's advice and your vet's advice over what I'm saying. But yeah, I just wanted to share with you because this is my most requested video ever. So this is the one request I get all the time. I get so many DMs from people asking to share how we potty train Pepi. So I thought I would share that with you. Now, first things first, if you're talking about a puppy, they're essentially babies. They are going to need to go to the toilet a lot. And on average, they'll probably need to go about every hour, but obviously that does depend on other things. So if they have had a long drink or some food, they're going to need to go for a wee 15 minutes after they've eaten or drunk something. And they're going to need to go to the toilet about half an hour after. So let us first of all talk about how the mother would get them to go to the toilet. We had whelping boxes, so we just had a big whelping box with like bits at the side so that the puppies wouldn't get squashed. And within that box, the puppies live for the first few weeks / couple of months of their lives. And what the mother will do to keep that space clean, because obviously in the wild, no one's coming to clean it out, the mother would then lick them. So they would lick them down below to stimulate them to go for a wee, and also to go to the toilet as well, and then the mother would eat it. So I'm sorry if that's a bit gross for you, but that's nature, that's what happens in real life. So when we're talking about puppies, if you're trying to get them to go to the toilet for the first time, sometimes it is worth trying to mimic that behaviour. So the best thing you can do is get a little bit of cotton wool or something like that and just wet it under the tap, and then just rub them ever so slightly, and that should act like the mother licking them and stimulate them to want to go to the toilet. So that can help if you're trying to get them to go to the toilet for the first time on something different. So say for instance a puppy pad, which I would highly recommend. Puppies also will not be able to hold during the night. They would be used to just going to the toilet when they needed to. So you will need to take them out first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and then have a puppy pad as well on hand. So in a spot that they can pee in and that they can get to very easily, so that they know they've got somewhere safe to go during the night. Now, I've got my phone here by the way with all my tips on. So I've said already you need to take them out first thing in the morning. They will be desperate to go to the toilet. If you imagine if you go to the loo first thing in the morning, they will be so desperate to go. They only have tiny bladders, especially if we're talking about Pomeranians or small dog breeds. They have such tiny little bladders, they can't hold it for very long, so they're going to need to go out. Now, we lived in a top floor flat, so we would have to every morning put her in her harness, put her on the lead, take her down to the pavement, and try and get her to go to the toilet. Obviously, you're not supposed to take puppies out until they've had their 3rd round of injections, so speak to your vet and what they recommend. Our vet said to us that we should be okay taking her down to the pavement to go to the toilet, but I'm not saying that that is the best thing to do. Again, you'll need to speak to your vet or your breeder to distinguish whether or not that is okay for you. they said that it was okay for us with her injections and what she had done already, that it wasn't a problem. And also she wasn't meeting any other dogs, so wouldn't be likely to catch anything from them. Besides the point, ask your vet about that. Yeah, we would take her downstairs and then get her to go to the toilet. Now, my other piece of advice is have a command. So every time Pepi went to the loo where she was supposed to, we would say, wee wee time. It's wee wee time. Now, the benefit of this to you is that when they're puppies, they're forming lifelong habits. So if you're telling them to do this then, it means that in the future they'll remember that behaviour and will hopefully keep it going. So every time we take Pepi outside to go to the toilet specifically, we tell her wee wee time or toilet time, or Ben uses poo poo time, but we should be consistent with that. But every time you take them outside, so say for instance we have the situation now where we want to go to a friend's house or go into a restaurant or a shop with Pepi, we say to her wee wee time just before we go in, and she knows it's time to go to the toilet, so she wheezes, and then we know she's not going to have any accidents while she's in there. She also then knows that she's going in somewhere she's not going to be allowed to go to the toilet, so has to take advantage of that situation then and there. This has also been beneficial to us when we've moved, because now we have moved, as I said, we've got a front and back garden. During winter we would just open the back doors and let her go to the toilet outside, and we still do that when we're expecting her to go for a wee. But if she wants to go to the toilet or a number two, we try and take her out the front of the house now, because we have quite a small garden. It's quite a small patch of grass, and we decided that if we've got friends over in summer or if we're lying out there sunbathing and things like that, we want to feel comfortable lying on the grass. Yeah, that's what we've started to do, and get her to go to the toilet out the front. As I said, they're going to want to go to the toilet 15 minutes after they've eaten or drunk anything, or they're going to need to go for a wee, 15 minutes after they've eaten or drunk anything. And they're also going to want to go to the toilet, or for a number two, 30 minutes after they've eaten. So it's just preempting that behaviour as well, and making sure that you're there to take them out after they've done that. Now, Pepi on average goes to the toilet 3 times a day now, and that's generally once in the morning, first thing, once after about lunchtime for us, and then once in the evening, and that's either before or after her supper. Generally, a lot of the time it is actually before her supper as well. Your puppy is also going to want to go to the toilet after it's played. So after a long play, make sure you take them outside, and then also if they've woken up from a long sleep, they're gonna need to want to go to the toilet. So when you preempt that behaviour and take them out, then they start to associate that with where they need to go to the toilet. When Pepi was a puppy, we had puppy pads down the whole time, so that if we didn't preempt that behaviour, or if we were busy, or I don't know, we took our eyes off her for 1 minute or something and we were stuck into what we were doing, then she knew she had a space to go to the toilet and she would make the most of that. Now also, if you have a carpet, 9 times out of 10, your puppy is going to want to pee on your carpet. It's nice and spongy, it feels like grass, they don't know the difference, so they will probably pee on your carpet. So if you're worried about that, then just pick up the carpet and don't let them into that specific area, or there's so many different things you can do. So if you have a puppy or a dog with a garden, and that is the one space that you take them out to go to the toilet in the majority of the time, they're gonna associate that space with their toilet. So first things first, if you have a door that's open all day long onto your back garden, which is pretty much what we do with Pepi, that's their play space. They don't then associate that with their toilet. So they then may not want to go to the toilet in that space. They may hold it. So if you don't want that to happen, then don't leave the door open all day and just let them out at specific times. On the flip side of that, if you do let your dog go to the toilet in your garden, and then that's the only space they want to go to the toilet, and you notice that as soon as you're coming home from a long walk, they don't go to the toilet the whole way, and then they're going to the toilet as soon as they walk in through the door, then that is the reason why. They're associating that space with the toilet, and dogs are creatures of habit, so they're going to then see that as their toilet space. The best way to try and train out of that behaviour is to keep them walking until they are so desperate that they just have to go on the street or where you want them to go to the toilet. Otherwise, when you have been on a long walk, if your dog hasn't been to the toilet, then put them in the garden first thing when you get back, and they can relieve themselves there, and then they're safe to come into the house. Okay, also when they're puppies, you have to live around their needs. They're just babies. Doing a schedule is one of the best things you can do. Literally just food and toilet. And as soon as you have that down, then you can start to see the patterns, and you can start to, again, predict the behavior of your dog. And it just makes it so much easier for the whole family. Then at least it's on the schedule, it's written down. So if you and your partner are coming in at different times, or you're both looking after it but aren't at home at the same time, then you can just look at the schedule, quick check, oh, went out then, ate then, so you're not overfeeding, underfeeding, or whatever. Another thing, swimming sometimes stimulates a dog to go to the toilet. Now, if you have a puppy, you probably won't let them swim until they're a little bit older, maybe about 6 to 8 months old. We let Pepi swim too early, and she was really, really tiny. Now she loves swimming, but back then we were worried she would never like the water. So yeah, when they've been for a swim, I don't know what it is, but they need to go for a number 2 generally after they've been for a swim. So make sure if you are doing that or giving them a bath or something, that when you're finished and when they're all dry and whatever, you do take them out to go to the toilet, because they will probably need to go. Right, so I think we've covered everything. So hopefully this gives you a bit more of an insight into how we trained Pepi and the best way to toilet train your puppy or your dog. If you have any more questions, if I haven't answered them, do leave them down below, and if there are things that I've missed out, I can do a follow-up video for this, so don't worry, I will try my best to answer your questions. I always respond to my comments, so leave me a comment down below. And even if you just want to say hi, because I love reading your comments. We love to see your dog pictures, so do send them to us over on Instagram as well. You'll see our handles in the closing credits, or they'll be just down below in the description box. And I have Pepi with me now to say thank you guys so much for watching. We love our little community. She just woke up, so she... Oh no, sweetheart. That's a little reverse sneeze. So if you haven't seen my video talking about reverse sneezing, I'll link that up here now, and you can have a look at that. Are you okay? Let's deal with this. This is what we do to get through that. Better? Better? Guys, we so appreciate every single comment, every single like, and every single view we get. So thank you so much for watching. She's fallen asleep. And we will see you in our next video. Bye.